Build your dreams, live rich, and leave rich.
And welcome. Let's talk about real estate investing, but we're going to do it a little differently today. I want you to forget everything you've been told about saving up for 20 years just to make a down payment on a flat. What if I told you that you could own a piece of a massive 1,000-core skyscraper and start collecting rent from huge companies like Google or Amazon, all for the price of a movie ticket, maybe just 300 rupees? It's not a fantasy, it's absolutely possible using an incredibly powerful tool called a REIT. Let's break down exactly how it works. Okay, before we jump in, we have to get the serious stuff out of the way. Please remember, this entire session is for educational purposes only. I'm here to explain a concept, not to give you financial advice. Every single investment, and that definitely includes REITs, comes with market risks. So please do your own homework, your own research, or better yet, talk to a qualified financial advisor before you decide to invest your hard-earned money. All right, let's get started. I want to begin with this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures the hidden danger, the trap, of traditional property investing. We're all taught from a young age that buying property is the ultimate safe asset, right? But think about it. What good is that asset if you can't get your money out when you desperately need it? This highlights the single biggest problem that we are going to solve today, a problem called illiquidity. So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to dive into what I call the great property trap. Then we'll reveal the elegant solution with our core idea, the 300 rupee skyscraper brick. After that, we're going to uncover a secret the wealthy have known for a long time, why billionaires prefer commercial real estate. And finally, the best part, I'll show you exactly how you can invest in 3 seconds. All right, let's start with a dream. A dream that's been sold to generations of Indians. Buy a flat and you've made it. Your financial future is set in stone. But you know what? For so many people, this dream ends up becoming a long, drawn-out financial nightmare. And this is where that beautiful dream just completely falls apart. You're sold on the idea of financial security, but what you actually get is a crushing 20-year bank EMI that eats up your salary every single month. You fantasize about easy, passive income, but the reality is getting frantic calls at 11 p.m. about a leaky pipe, or worse, chasing tenants who haven't paid rent in 3 months. And that growing asset you were so proud of? Well, once you subtract all the endless maintenance costs, the painting, the plumbing, and the property taxes, you're left with a rental yield, the actual return on your money, of a miserable 2 or 3%. Your bank's fixed deposit probably gives you more. But you know, even if you forget all those headaches, the tenants, the repairs, the low returns, there is one fundamental flaw with physical property that traps your wealth and makes it almost useless in an emergency. So what do you think that is? What is the single biggest problem with owning a flat, a house, or a piece of land? The answer is this one word: illiquidity. It's a fancy term for a very simple and very painful problem. Let's say, God forbid, you have a medical emergency in your family tomorrow morning. You need 5 lakh rupees and you need it fast. You own a flat worth 1 crore. Can you go and sell just the kitchen to get the 5 lakhs you need? Of course not. You have to sell the entire flat. And anyone who has tried to sell property in India knows that's a nightmare. It takes months, sometimes years. You're dealing with brokers, endless paperwork, negotiations. Your 1 crore asset is completely useless when you need cash the most. It's not an asset, it's a wealth trap. So if that's the trap, how do you escape? What's the way out? Well, let's move on to the really exciting part, the modern solution that gives you all the good things about real estate with absolutely none of the terrible drawbacks. Just take a moment and really picture this. I want you to imagine you are a landlord, but your tenants aren't just anyone. Your tenants are Google and Amazon and Microsoft. They're renting out huge, swanky office spaces in a grade A premium IT park that you, yes, you own a piece of. A shiny glass building in the heart of tech hubs like Bangalore or Hyderabad. This isn't average real estate, this is the absolute best of the best. Now, here's the catch, right? A building like that costs a fortune, maybe 5,000 crores. It's completely out of reach for any of us. But here is where the magic happens. A real estate investment trust, or REIT, is a company that takes this gigantic, expensive skyscraper and digitally breaks it down into millions and millions of tiny, affordable units. I want you to think of them as bricks. And each brick might only cost around 300 or 400 rupees. And you can buy 1 brick, or 10 bricks, or 100 bricks. Suddenly, that 5,000 crore building is accessible to you. Okay, now I want you to look at this number on the screen. 90%. Please, burn this number into your mind. This is the secret sauce. This is the legal rule that turns a REIT from just a cool idea into a powerful passive income machine for you. So what's so special about 90%? Well, in India, our market regulator, SEBI, has created a rule that is an absolute game changer. It says that these REITs are legally forced to take at least 90% of the rent they collect from tenants like Google and Amazon after paying their basic operating costs and distribute it directly back to the people who own the bricks. That's you. It comes to you in the form of regular payments called dividends. This isn't a suggestion, it's the law. It creates a steady, predictable, and wonderfully passive income stream, paid right into your bank account. This brings us to a really important question. Why are REITs all about these huge office parks, warehouses, and shopping malls? Why not just a bunch of residential flats? Well, let's pull back the curtain and look at a secret that the smart money, the billionaires, have understood for decades. The difference is just night and day when you put them side by side. With your residential flat, you're dealing with 11-month leases. The tenant can leave every year, leaving you scrambling to find a new one. Your tenants are individuals, which can be unpredictable. But look at the commercial side. We're talking about multinational corporations signing ironclad leases for 9 years, 10 years, sometimes even 15 years straight. The stability is on another level. But the most important number is at the bottom. Your residential flat gives you that tiny 2 to 3% yield. High-quality commercial property, on the other hand, delivers a much healthier 6 to 8% rental return on your investment. Let's just zoom in on the power of these commercial leases for a second. They're not just long-term. They almost always have something called an escalation clause built right into the contract. This means that, say, every 3 years, the rent they pay automatically goes up by a fixed percentage. So your income is literally designed to grow over time. Your tenants are stable, global companies, not someone who might lose their job next month. And the best part? The entire property, the whole shebang, is managed by a team of professionals. You don't fix any leaky pipes. You don't chase any rent. You just own the bricks and collect the income. Zero headaches. Okay, so by now you get the what and the why. You understand the trap of physical property and the beauty of owning commercial bricks. But how do you actually do it? How do you buy your first brick? This, my friends, is the most incredible part of the whole story. Let's open the magic door. Remember that big, ugly problem we started with? That wealth trap called illiquidity? Well, the ultimate superpower of a REIT is its exact opposite: absolute liquidity. It takes the single biggest flaw of traditional real estate and completely, utterly solves it. So how complicated is it to buy your first piece of a skyscraper? It is so simple it's almost funny. Step 1, you open your DMAT app, the same app you use to buy stocks like Zerodha or Grow or any other. Step 2, in the search bar, you just type the name of a listed REIT, the same way you'd search for a company like Tata Motors. And step 3, you click buy. That's it. In less than 3 seconds, you are a legal part owner of some of the finest commercial real estate in India. It's that easy. Now just stop and think about what this really means. No spending days at the crowded, dusty registry office. No paying massive stamp duties and registration fees that cost lakhs. No dealing with shady middlemen or being asked for bribes. And most importantly, if you have that medical emergency on a Tuesday morning and you need cash, you just open your app, click sell, and your property is converted to cash in your bank account in a couple of days. It's real estate on your terms. Now, while it's easy to sell, you do have to remember that REITs are traded on the stock market. Their prices can go up, but they can also go down. It's not a guaranteed profit scheme. It's a powerful and flexible investment tool. All right, to make sure everything we've discussed really sinks in, let's do a quick-fire recap of the key terms. First up, a REIT, a real estate investment trust, is just a company that owns and manages buildings that make money, and you can buy a piece of that company, a share, just like it's a stock. Simple. What kind of buildings do they own? Commercial real estate. These are properties used purely for business. Think giant IT parks, sprawling shopping malls, and massive warehouses that are all rented out to big companies. And how do you measure your income? That's the dividend yield. It's simply the total rent money you receive in a year, shown as a percentage of the price you paid for your bricks. A higher yield means more rental income in your pocket. And finally, the superpower we talked about, liquidity. This is just a measure of how quickly and easily you can sell your investment and get your cash back. For a REIT, it's a matter of seconds. For a physical flat, it could be a matter of years. So I want to leave you with one final thought to reflect on. If you now know that you can become a landlord to the world's biggest and best companies, earn a steady and growing rental income stream,
and have the absolute freedom to sell your entire investment in 3 seconds whenever you want, all starting with just a few hundred rupees? Does that old, traditional dream of locking yourself into a 20-year home loan for one single flat still make sense as an investment? Something for you to think about. Thank you for your time.